So I found my notes in my phone. Anyway, just I found some notes, okay, about the issues I had during the orientation thing, okay. So remember, issue number one was like overcorrection of expression, saying, you can't say it this way. You must use this particular word, and only words with positive connotations. And how they would correct how people will simply like most simplest of sentences must be corrected because you're not allowed to use words that have a negative connotation, lest people take that as you being unhappy with the organization, whatever, right? Okay, so that was number one. Okay, so number two is okay. Number two is like the feedback model. When the company always says like, we care about how we're being received. We care about the higher ups having a good relationship with the employees. Like, we want your feedback. We want to know, right? And then they give you different ways to relay your thoughts or give reviews, like like some kind of paper thing, an email thing, form to fill out. Yes, and they made us do that. They made us do a Google form after every part of the orientation to say like, oh, what'd you get from this? What'd you take from this? What is any like feedback on whatever that you want to share, right? And so, sorry. So, oh, okay. Yeah, and so people mentioned like they would do those kind of things, like, give feedback or talk to a higher up or fill out the forms, and like nobody would put anything into place, right? And mind you, I know you're going to tell me like, oh, that's what everybody does. That's nothing new. I know. I'm just relaying my stuff, okay? I'm just relaying my stuff, okay? And like, bro, we have to do all these damn meetings where you go and talk about what's it called? Like those DEI things, right? Like, I don't know, like say for example like microaggressions at work, right? And we have the big meeting. They're like, okay, everybody go into teams and talk about microaggressions you've experienced at work, and like, how did you feel? What was the context? What was the impact? They always love to say intent versus impact, blah 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 blah, right? So you discuss that with your peers, right? And before they do those kind of what's it called? What is it called? Before they do those meetings, they do like they give you a list, and they say like, here's our agreements for the meeting, like, you know, um, and one of them was like, have respectful conversation, like listen to what the person is saying, don't just take over a conversation, like genuinely listen to each person in your group, not to judge, but to hear their story, right? Kind of like you do in those like therapy groups or whatever. And then number two, like one of the things was to not focus, please be mindful to not re-traumatize people, right? But the thing is, it's not possible when you're already a fucking minority, right? Or especially, if you're black, because I just relate to my own case, right? If you're already the person who has already gone through microaggression, right? Or who has already gone through way more microaggressions than your peers will ever face, then it's like, to me, talking about all those like deep rooted stuff that carries weight, just talking about it on a regular Tuesday after work, after you already did your damn shift, it's like so disgusting to think that just writing a little note, a little like preface note, it was a note on the PowerPoint. It was a note, like it was a slide on the PowerPoint. Imagine taking the emotional stuff someone goes through, like the amount of reliving their trauma that they go through and retelling traumatic things. Imagine that whole emotional arc for the person, that whole emotional process being reduced into a slide in a PowerPoint that essentially is telling people, please make this easy for everybody else to process. Please don't make us uncomfortable and start crying. They're always like, oh yeah, take space if you need something. Take space. I was like, bitch, how about we just not? How about we just not do this all? Because we all know nobody gives a fuck. We're still going to keep doing this thing every day. All your white people going to still feel good about yourself, saying, I make a difference when I come into work every day because I get to work with black and brown kids. Like, can we hear the audacity? Can we hear the self praise? Can we hear the centering that takes place? Like, just because, like, for example, if you're a white person, just because you work with black and brown kids does not mean you're absolved of all racism and perpetuations of it, right? You're literally the person who's simultaneously benefiting from being white in a white supremacist society, but you also get the benefit of saying, oh, I help the children. I wake up every day and do something that matters. You can't make this up, bro. You cannot make this up. Meanwhile, the actual people that's like, on the ground doing the work, that's where the black people are. That's where the women are. That's where the black women are, right? And you also know, of course, that people who's black and a woman is the first to is like either the first to get kicked out or always get kicked out by the end of the year, not renewed or whatever. I wonder why. Yeah, and that brings me to another aspect. Like, there was one of the new girls who's coming to my like section of the organization, right? And people were mad because they heard a story about her, because they like to gossip and they like to tell people's story for them instead of hearing from it out of their own mouth. So, right, one of us was telling a story. Oh, I heard this, I heard that, right? And gleefully telling the damn story. Me in my head, like, obviously, I didn't say anything out loud. This was a very different time for me. It's not like me now, okay? This is a very different time for me, and I was still in the environment. I was still swimming in that water. Why the hell would I expose myself while I'm still under the water? You know what I'm saying? If I on land, then I can holler and scream at everybody all I want. If I'm still in the water, I need to hold my breath so I can swim. It's easy, you get it? I had to do it. Don't at me. I had to do it. It just fits. Anyway, so the girl was gleefully saying everything she knew about, the new girl coming in. And so everybody's like, oh, wow, can't believe she did that. Oh, my goodness, right? And me being the only black person in the room, I was like, wait a second. Why are we so quick on judging this woman? And none of you know the real story, know the whole truth. None of you been in her shoes when that happened. None of you even know how the transition came about. You know what I'm saying? It's like people be too so gleeful and happy to run their mouth about people they don't even know, especially when it's a flipping black woman. Oh look, it's our entertainment. Oh my God, it's our jester. She's arrived. That's literally how it is. They're like, okay, hi, oh my God, you're black. Here, put on this hat, and it has the little jingles. Now shake your head. It's like jingle, jingle, jingle. I wish I had the sound effect, like the little jingle, jingle, jingle. That's literally it. And I was so disgusted with myself because also, I didn't say anything at the time, though I wanted to. Next kid over here, he kept his mouth shut. And then the other girl, she was just like, oh, wow, like, oh, I can't believe she did that, wow. You know what I'm saying? Because it's just like, it hurts me when people take away the opportunity for you to speak on your behalf, because it's like that's how you have humanity. You don't just tell somebody's story for them. You don't even know the whole context. You're basically gleefully eating popcorn sitting there like that's your prime piece of meat for the day, like entertainment meat for the day. Like I really don't like how that's like such a thing in work cultures. Like if I say, oh, I'm a ballerina, you're gonna run with it and be like, oh my God. Just forget that, right? Like they'll take one piece of information and blow it up, and like it just shows no human concern for human well-being, right? Let me check my my thingy, my notes. Yeah, okay. So back to the point when I was talking about like the anti-racism feedback model. Okay, so I said like they said all the right things but never did them or never created a space where those honest conversations could actually be had. And you know what I mean when I say this? It's like the guy or the big boss guy who said, oh, you can talk to me. Like, you can tell me anything. I'm here for you, right? But something in the back of your mind is like, wait, I don't think so. I don't think this information is safe to reveal. And just that is like, one of the the overhead ways that they get you is because it's like you have a brain. You know when things are safe and when they are unsafe. You may not know why, but you know that, right? You may not know why, but you know that, and that's what's important here, because they get to say up and down, oh yes, this is such an honest environment. Oh yes, we love to talk with all the employees and stuff and hear for them and hear how we can do better every single day. We are always shaping our craft and whatever you call it, right? So that way, all their higher ups can be proud of them and say, "Oh yes, they're very vocal about talking with their staff, right?" But then you, as an actual staff, you can lose your job over speaking out, right? Or they'll just say, "Hey, you're not a good fit for our team. You don't really gel with the team." I'm like, yeah, I don't gel because I'm black, and because I have a lick of sense, and because I'm an introvert. Right. And because I don't want to jump and smile and play song and dance for you every single flipping day. Right? Didn't I say in that other video, it's like, you'll be surprised. But, in certain contexts, right? In the context in which I was working, people actually do respond to authenticity, honesty, to you saying, hey, I'm sad today. And it's okay, and it's okay. Of course, not every clientele is gonna have that mindset, but where I was working, yes, you know like, who I was working with was not the problem. It was the other adults. Okay, it was like, what's it called, the staff and the higher ups. That's what I had a problem with. It's just like you and this manager, who you guys don't fuck with each other. You guys don't even want to see each other. If someone will pay you $50,000 to meet up after work at a coffee shop, and you'd be like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Somebody else can get that money, right? It's like that. You guys don't like each other, and then all of a sudden, when you have a meeting, they pretend to give a fuck about you and that you were always there. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, let me go to my next point. Sorry if this is all over the place, but there's meaning in it somewhere. I'm sure you see it. Oh yeah, then I talked about people gossiping, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Yeah, no, I think that was it. I believe I covered all the stuff I needed to cover. Anyway, I'll say again, just like I did in the first video. Um, oh, and also, another thing. You may not always have the evidence for what you think is going on or what you feel is going on, like, especially if you have a good intuition. You may not have all the evidence, right? But there's cases where you don't need evidence. Just get out. Just leave. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's times that you fuck around and then you find out, if you are able to leave, if you are able to secure another workplace or another source of income, another group of people you can work with, please do. Because, sorry, Mike. Because, like, it's so important, because me staying in that environment is really damaging to my mental health, because, I see things clearly for what they are. I like to see things and I like to name them and be like, pop, 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 So, but in the environment in which I had to work, like, everything that I was a problem. Like, telling the truth, being honest, being a real human being with feelings and emotions, having a capacity and having limits to that, like, I can't be like, superhero and do everything all the time without breaks, and damn it. Oh yeah, so I was saying everything that I am, that I inherently am, like qualities that I cannot turn off, was always a problem in that environment. Like I said, they love those qualities if it's used for them, if it helps them make a profit. But they do not love those qualities if the wheel turns around and points at them. Then they're like, oh no, she's too emotional. You know what I'm saying, all those kind of things, right? So I'm just saying, like I said in the other video, like, please be very careful. And I cannot talk in too much detail, honestly, because I don't remember. This was a long time ago now. So it sucks. Like, hopefully it's too bad. Like, maybe I'll look in my phone to see if I had talk in more detail, because I'm not trying to be super vague on purpose. Of course, I'm not going to drop names and locations and stuff. But I hope something can, be gained from this, but like, you don't always need evidence, okay? And especially if you're a person who, like, had super, like, anxiety or trauma, that whenever you make a judgment on something, if you're like, I think this isn't for me, I think this person's out to get me. It's not always just anxiety or trauma or upbringing, right? It could actually be like, oh, you're right, It's just like, you don't wait till the person, like, snatches your wig off to then be like, oh my God, I was right, Like, go be right and be far, far away. And then be like, oh, I was right, while you're sipping your tea. How about that? You're sipping your tea, watching TV, and you're like, oh, look, I was right. Right, not saying, oh, I was right, well, they already done snatched your wig off. You see what I'm saying? And said that your teeth are crooked. Like, you see what I'm saying? Yeah. Um, it's too bad that I can't really recount it in more detail, like A, for my own protection, and B, because, the limit to my memory. So sorry about that, but hopefully, you know, I'm sure you can get something from this. Like I said, if you think something is for a reason, and of course, some things don't reveal themselves on like the first day or first week or first month. Some things take more time, like at the 3 month mark or the 6 month mark or the 8 month mark. But definitely just listen to that once you can, like once you are in the position to like quit your job or move into a different, what's it called, like section of the organization, like anything that you can do to change your situation, please do if you can. Please take that leap. I promise you it will save your mental health. I cannot promise that it will save your pockets. I can promise you it will save your mental health. That's why I said if financially you cannot afford to do it, then no. Then I would suggest you get somebody to help you cope with it and who can listen to you about it, okay? Yeah. Those kind of places really, really F up your mind because you're like, wait, I'm seeing all this shit, right? And nobody else is seeing it? Huh? Sometimes it really like runs you for a loop, and you're like, wait, what is going on here, right? Yeah, so just know, like, it's okay if you've like been through a lot of things that alter your perception of stuff. Like, just because that happened, it does not mean that you're just making stuff up and pulling it out of your ass, okay? Just know that. And yes, it takes a lot of discernment, a lot of reflection to know the difference. But 9 times out of 10, like, you're usually right for a reason, okay? Yeah, I know, like, you can't always tell the difference, but most of the time it's better to just be out of it, even if you cannot pinpoint the actual thing that's wrong.